Thanks so much, Erin. Like I said, call me if you need anything. I can call you. One more thing, Jean wanted me to give you. Right, so hold on. Well, it starts. I have to leave at 4:30. It's okay. Four, 7, 8. Is that Erna over there? All right. I think we're good to go. Can you hear me, Jean?
I can.
Eileen said that they unplugged our sound so that we don't come through, and they're, so she just wanted to say that.
But then what happens when I'm supposed to say, okay, Mother House, or say, okay, we're going to Denver over to you.
They'll plug us back in.
How will I know that?
Well, I guess you won't, huh?
I don't think so.
That's what they usually do.
What do you usually do?
That's what they usually do. They unplug us and plug us back in when it's time for us to speak.
So I guess they'll just show maybe.
Yeah, and I gave Eileen your cell phone number.
Okay. So I should probably mute myself too, right?
Yeah, you're gonna want to mute everyone except for the Mother House.
Okay.
Until it comes time to share.
Okay, thank you.
Feel free to call me if you need anything. I can step out of class.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Good luck at class tonight.
Good luck to you, Jean.
I'll take it.
I'll mute our mic over here, and Sister Marlene will be here, and so. Good luck.
Backed up on the tab. Hey, we're not the.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. We gather together this evening to remember and celebrate the life of our sister in community, Sister Concetta. Let us begin our prayer by placing ourselves in the presence of the Holy One, believing that Concetta is already enjoying the fullness of joy that we too will one day experience. Please be seated for a reading of her biography, prepared and read by our archivist, Eleanor Craig.
Sister Concetta Torrillo was born in 1924 in Granite City, Illinois, to Giuseppe and Concetta Gigliardo Torrillo. As a young married couple, they had immigrated from Italy. Here is Concetta's story as she told it to archivist Kate Missbauer in 2010. My dad was Joseph, and he came from Veneto, Italy, to New York City. Later, the ship he was on was bombed and sank. He worked a year, then returned to Italy and married my mom. In 1913, they came here together. That ship later sank too. They did not go back to Italy. From New York City, they went to St. Louis, and my dad worked at Granite City Steelworks. I was youngest and the only girl. I was baptized Maria Maddalena Adorata Torrillo. I had 3 older brothers. Terenzio, born in 1916. He was only 3 when he died of diphtheria. Philip, born in 1918, died in 1940. Terenzio II was born in 1921 and lived until 2005. Our father was hit on the head by a man at work and died November the 1st, 1924. I was 8 months old. After my dad died, we moved to St. Louis. My mother had a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and me, and she worked. We stayed with my aunt, my mother's sister. My aunt was sickly and lived downstairs with her husband. We lived upstairs at 2817 Lafayette. I went to public school for kindergarten, then to Immaculate Conception in the city through the 8th grade, taught by the Sisters of Loretto. I used to help Sister Martha Euphrasia in the kindergarten. I carried the sisters' bags from IC to Loretto Academy where they lived. So my mother said, maybe you should go live there. So I felt a call starting as a child. My mom and Terenzio and I moved to a house on Allen in California in 1939. I went to St. Francis High School for 2 years then to St. Anthony's High School for Girls, and graduated in 1943. The SSNDs at St. Francis thought they'd get me, but no. At St. Anthony's, the Sisters of St. Joseph wanted me, but I said no. How come the SLs? Well, I went to them for 8 years and it fit. Coming to the convent, I planned to go in October of 1943, but at my physical exam, the doctor told me that I better have my tonsils taken out because they were infected. I had them out and I lost pretty much blood. I was still quite weak, so I thought I'd better write to Mother Edwarda. Whatever you think is best, that is what I will do. I am really sorry that it turned out the way it has. Please let me hear you still want me. Mother Edwarda told me to wait until February of 1944. In my class then were Sister Rosemary Grauer and Sister Rose Alice. The one other classmate left before profession because her mother objected. August the 15th, 1944, I received the habit and took my mother's name, Concetta. I think I am the only one still living who wears the complete Loretto habit. Professed on December the 8th, 1946, I went to Lafayette and then Immaculate Conception Maplewood, the suburb in St. Louis. Mother Edwarda sent me to the Mother House to help in the infirmary in 1948. I made beds, helped in the new St. Joseph's building when it was first opened. 10 months I was there. I went to Santa Fe and taught at St. Francis Cathedral School in 49-50, then Las Vegas Old Town in 51-53. El Paso, 53-54 at Sacred Heart. Taos, 54-60 at St. Joseph's School. I asked Mother Edwarda if something was wrong, since I was changed so often. She said, "No, we know you will go wherever we send you." I thought everyone did that. The first 10 years I taught the middle grades. I went back to Santa Fe in 1960 to 64, and from then on I taught the primary grades. I went to St. Mary's Sterling, 64 to 68, Immaculate Conception Highland Park, 68 to 70, Lafayette and St. Louis, 70 to 71, in charge of the nursery school. I taught second and third grade at St. Ferdinand in Florissant from 1971 to 80. I lived a year at Mary Queen of Peace with Sister Francie Ann and began tutoring at the Loretto Tutoring Center at 590 in Webster Groves. I moved to 590 to live in 1981 and continued tutoring until 1991. Sister Concetta doesn't mention in her autobiography that she completed a bachelor's degree in elementary education at Loretto Heights College in 1964 at the end of 13 summers of study. After that, she spent her summers nursing at one or another Loretto infirmary or teaching reading in summer vacation schools. Altogether, Concetta taught and tutored young children for 44 years. She said proudly, "I still get letters from girls I taught in Santa Fe and Sterling." Concetta was especially proud of her family and her Italian ancestry. She wrote, "My brother Terenzio used to come to Lafayette when I lived there, and I'd see Mom on Thursdays. She died while I was at Lafayette on my birthday. I went to Italy for 3 weeks in 1971, went to 7 countries. My mother always hoped I could see Italy. I went to the church where she was baptized and met my cousins. I went back 7 times. In 1994, for my Golden Jubilee, I got a papal blessing. Sister Concetta was an avid bingo player. For many years, she was a regular at the Tuesday bingo at the Elks Club in South St. Louis County. She organized weekly bingo on Wednesday mornings for the Loretto Center residents while she resided there. Through these efforts, she raised several $1,000s for the Loretto Hunger Fund. Concetta is also known for playing the lottery. She once won $55,000, which she donated to the Loretto community in support of the retirement fund. She often used lesser winnings to buy new linen items for the Loretto Center Chapel and to pay for weekly bakery donuts for breakfast and monthly afternoon ice cream socials for center residents. In April of 2013, the St. Louis Loretto community celebrated Concetta's 32 years of life and community service at the Loretto Center. Soon after, Concetta moved to the infirmary at Loretto Mother House in Kentucky. A passionate St. Louis Cardinals fan, her great sorrow in Kentucky was that she could watch her favorite baseball team only when the game was broadcast on ESPN or when the Cardinals were in the World Series. Sister Concetta died at the Mother House Infirmary on February 1st, in the 72nd year of her life of willing service as a Sister of Loretto.
Sister Concetta had great devotion to our Blessed Mother and to the Rosary. We will now recite a decade of the Rosary in her honor. The first joyful mystery, the Annunciation. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. And now we will have some reflections from I Am the Way, the constitutions of the Sisters of Loretto. Loretto came to be and comes to be through the creative spirit of God, whose grace worked powerfully in our founders and continues to work in the community as a whole and in each of its members. The vocation to be a Sister of Loretto, or shows itself in a spirit of courage and generosity, marked by trust in God, ingenuity, and self-reliance, made firm by a personal response to God through the Church. Vocational commitment includes lifelong development, a continuing process of becoming more human and more like Christ. We accept the responsibility to assist each other in understanding the gospel and in living according to its spirit and teaching. As Sisters of Loretto, our lives are founded upon a profound act of faith in the enduring love of God and a need to share this love. To believe firmly in God's love means we must be able to receive this gift of love, to make our decisions in the light of it, and to trust human beings, both ourselves and others. As a community, we profess unshakable reliance upon God and human reliance upon one another. Let us stand and pray. God of all tenderness, we entrust our sister Concetta to your mercy. Now that she is freed from earthly cares, give her happiness and peace forever. Welcome her into your eternal home, where there will be no more sorrow, no more weeping or pain, but only great joy, now that she has been reunited with her family and all the Loretto saints who have preceded her in death. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Now, if you'll give a few minutes to us, we'll put the microphone down so all can cheer.
biography of her life. That was nice.
I remember Sister Concetta coming to the dining room pretty regularly, and whenever she came, she was always really happy, and she was always interested in what people had to say, and she was just interested and just was always smiling and happy.
That was Mary. I have the microphone on here if anybody wants to say anything here.
This is Sister Caroline Tachek. My mother had the privilege of living at Loretto Center in St. Louis for 3 years, and she said she only played bingo because of Concetta. Now, Concetta would give us the money to play with. And one day I was home with her, and I won a lot of money. Then I got up to help clean up, and when I came back to pick up the dough had been taken away to return to her pocket for the next game. And another memory I have of her is Sister Barbara Ann Barbada would call me, and she said, "Please tell Sister Concetta she can watch the television and the Cardinal game on such and such a channel." So the first time I did that, she didn't hear me, so she missed the game. The next time Sister Barbara Ann called, I typed up a very big note and gave it to her. I said, "Sister Barbara Ann must like you very much to give you this note. To let you know this information." She said, "Well, you're not so bad either, because you wrote this note for me."
That's the carol that made those little Christmas trees on the
This is Pat Free. I just wanted to explain a little bit about her trip to the Cardinal game. The food service would give us tickets for the ball game, Cardinal ball game, usually every year. But I don't know why she hadn't gone yet. But one year I said, "Don't you want to go to the ball game?" And she said yes. And so it was quite a big thing for us to get her down there. But the tickets we had, the place was in the sun, and I knew it wouldn't be good for her in the full habit to be in the sun. So then I went down and exchanged the tickets for another area. And so we went up on the second floor, and she was sitting with this man from Florissant, and he happened to catch the foul ball, and he gave it to her, and she was just prized that so much, and even wanted me to get it autographed, but I never could get it done for her. But she really enjoyed that. It was the first time that she had gone, and I was happy that we got to do it.
Well, to continue that theme, I'm sure you recognize why I have this particular hat on tonight, and it is, of course, because of her great devotion. And we were laughing one time about the fact of moving to Kentucky. And so one of the words you hear a lot, the Cardinals, but not these Cardinals. Not the St. Louis Cardinals. So we would always say something about, and talk about the St. Louis Cardinals. So I thought it was appropriate that I would honor her by wearing this particular hat. And I often sat across from her in the dining room at one of the tables where she used to sit. And what I loved is she, of course, had a hearing loss by then, but when she got amused, I think she had the merriest eyes I have ever seen. They just sort of twinkled. So that's a wonderful memory of her. And I know the people in St. Louis have just many stories too of their living with her. Wonderful woman. The St. Louis part.
Hello, my name is Erna Volk. I'm the receptionist in Mother House, and I had the privilege of taking Sister Concetta to bingo, just her and I, several times, and she really enjoyed it. No matter what she remembered throughout the week, on bingo night, she'd come out of the elevator and that little eye would start twinkling, and she'd say, "Do I have a driver?" And if she didn't have one, then I took over. And of course, my car had leather seats, and she was able to turn. Up until the end of last year, her and I went together several times. And when we would get there at the Knights of Columbus, they all knew her very well. They had all the cards that she normally got. They had everything ready for her, and they'd say, "Where have you been, sister?" if she didn't come the week before. So she was very well received there. And we always would sit next to the board where she could see, and she actually did quite well. The numbers that she didn't hear, she could always see the blinking light, and she always had me play the fast games for her. And one night she won 75 pull tabs. And I literally had to help her open them because they had to get them open to see who the winner was. So we did that together. She was always so gracious and thankful that she got to go. And as soon as she got into the car, the first thing she would ask me is, "Did you eat supper?" She was always worried about, because she knew I did not go home, that I would wait for her. And I would have to tell her sometimes. She would be sitting there at 4 o'clock with her little dabbers and her little bag. She was ready to go at 4 o'clock, even though we didn't leave till 6. So I will miss my little bingo buddy.
She still has the back.
I'm Cecily. Concetta made her first vows on the same day that PJ and 3 other sisters in our class received the habit. I didn't know her very well, but I always had the idea that she was much older than I was, probably because she was 2 years ahead of me in the order. I used to see her off and on when I would stop at 590 when I would drive down here from Denver to see my elders. But I really didn't know her until she moved here. And then I made it a point to sit at her table about once a week. Some days she would hardly say anything. But one day we started talking about her birthday or something. Well, it turned out that she was only 3 days older than I am. That was very amusing. The other
sort of bond that we had when she told me she had been born in Granite City was the fact that my parents met one another on the streetcar and the bus going back from Granite City to East St. Louis. My dad her father worked at Granite City Steel. My father, who was quite a bit younger than her father, worked at aluminum ore company where my mother was the secretary. So that was sort of just an unusual Illinois bond. And the other thing I wanted to say, which I never did think about saying to Concetta during her life, was how grateful all the recipients of Loretto Hunger Fund money should be to her for the money that she contributed through her work on getting the 590s residents to play bingo. So thank you, Concetta.
Liz Perez here. My recollection of Concetta was the summer that I took classes at Aquinas in St. Louis. And I had never really spent a lot of time getting to know the sisters in St. Louis, but that particular summer, of course, they got to know a little bit of me, and I got to know them, including Concetta. And you know, she had her little group of people that normally sat at her table. So it took a while before I could get over to where her table was, just to have a meal with her and get to know who she was. And she said to me, "Now, what's your name?" And so I said, "Liz Perez." "What is that? Mexican? Hispanic? What is that?" I said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, what's your name?" And she told me, Concetta Torrillo. I said, "What's that?" And she, "It's Italian." And I said, oh, okay, so you're Italian, eh? And then she says, "Yeah." Like, so what, you know? But so she gave me her little attitude, and I gave her my little attitude, and after that she gave me this high five. And it was sort of like, okay, you're all right, you know, I passed the test. And I knew I had passed the test because in the evenings, now she didn't let too many people go up to her bedroom, but she also knew that, you know, I didn't know that many people, and I was spending, I guess, evenings in my room by myself, and maybe she thought I was lonely or whatever, but she'd say, "If you want to, you can come up to my room and see me. You can come up and watch TV with me. The game's on." Oh, okay. So some of the times I'd do that, and after a while, if we happened to have popcorn that evening, I said, "You want me to bring up the popcorn for the game?" "Oh, yeah, you know." But anyway, we got along very well, and that sort of paid off for when she came to Loretto here at the Mother House, because, you know, we sort of reconnected, and we got along very well, and I think she, I don't know, I felt like she trusted me, and I always tried to look out for her as much as I could.
I think we're finished at the Mother House. Shall we go to another section?
Thank you. We'll go to Denver now. and ask Denver if anyone cares to share.
I don't think we have any stories in Denver, Jean.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and go to St. Louis then, please.
This here. Okay. Well, Concetta loved steak. Our favorite restaurant. Well, suddenly the restaurant closed. But I said, here's the menu. Shall we try it out and see what we think? Our first cruise should have been to. But anyway, he was watching and said, well, we're not open yet, but did you come to the house of God?
I don't know.
Can you hear him?
You know, if I think you step away from the mic a little bit, it might be a little better.
Repeat that, please.
If you hold the mic a little further away from,
Hold the mic forward. Hold it further away.
All right, this is This is Angie Murphy, and I want everybody to know that the still here because we're still doing business, and I hope that everybody's getting the money. And there are a lot of little things that instead of video, one of the things that she always did was deliver the papers. St. Louis Post Press, which are really important to her. We still make them. That's fun.
This is Sheila. I too had the privilege of bringing Concetta to Bingo. And she used to tell me, I like it when you bring me or pick me up because you take the highway and it's faster. I was very surprised the day that she told me that she was going to the ball game, and it was the first time she had ever been to Busch Stadium. So that really was a thrilling experience for her. And as Angie just said, we really do miss her here.
What did you do different? I think Jean did something.
and would EA please stand up and repeat your comments if you could?
She doesn't know what ever that takes.
You know what? Stay there. Stay there.
Stay there. I said that Concetta loves steak. And so periodically we would go to her favorite steak restaurant. But suddenly they closed and she was so disappointed. But I said, you know, here's a new restaurant. It's just opening up. It's Ruby Tuesdays. Why don't we try it out and see what we think? So we walk in. Our first clue should have been that there were not many cars there, but that did not deter us. So we walked in and this man looked at us a little strangely, but he was very polite. So he came up and he said, I'm so sorry. He said, we're not quite open, but
have you come to apply for a job?
Irma, what about her priest friend? Her what? That priest friend, you know, that you took down there.
Father Bennett.
Who is it? Her uncle?
No, Father Bennett.
Father Bennett. He didn't die. Did he?
No.
He didn't die.
Anybody else? Rosemary?
You want to say anything, Rosemary?
What?
You want to say anything about
No,
that?
I shook my head. No. I think that's all we have here.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, St. Louis. Now, if we could go to Barbara and Lillian, please.
Where's my mic?
There.
Am I on mute? Oh, hello.
Hello.
I just have this dear memory of Sister Concetta at 590. One night, the fire alarm went off. I don't know the time. It could have been 2 in the morning. Maybe it was 11 at night. I don't know. But everybody was pretty much in bed. And the person who I met on the steps was Sister Concetta, fully dressed in habit and veil. And this was before I had my knees fixed. So the two of us sort of helped each other down the steps, and we got out to safety. So that was, as some of you have mentioned, you have special endearing moments. And that's certainly one of mine with Sister Concetta. She was a blessing, and I miss her too. And we're finished here then.
Okay. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Lillian. Well, then we will go back to the Mother House.